Transnational movement is our module that we are going to talk about. That how those international movements, which were existing from one country to another countries, and how they were making an impact on the process of globalization. Are the process of globalization making the impact on the transnational movements? Transnational movements were led by the strands from different spheres: socialists, labor, radical green, revolutionaries, and many others. The movement was formally organized, however, it took place in different regions of the world. The basic concern of protesters was to eliminate neoliberal agents from political and economic treaties. It raised voice against the exploitation of labor class because the neoliberals believe that we cannot liberate the market forces, that they can make decisions independently or they are going to dictate their terms. No, neoliberalists believe that the state would intervene, but it would be a less intervention. But in the name of less intervention, how much interventions they were going to do, it was not known to anyone, even not today. The movement drew attention to the shifting of corporations and industries to those areas and localities where they could easily find cheap labor. Such areas have weak rulers and weak rules and regulations, poor law and order, because the rulers were weak, governors were weak, so definitely the rules and regulations were easily manipulated. Moreover, working environment poses serious health risks for the workers. The protesters demanded promotion of common universal standards which should be implemented by the reliable international institutions, because it was happening selectively. The rules and regulations of international labor organizations are not working efficiently in Pakistan. For example, if they believe that there is a temperature more than 40 degrees centigrade, people cannot work at that place. But you know that in Pakistan, people work even in the 45 degrees centigrade. In the same way, there is an international standard for the cold weather, that below that degree, our labor will not work. So, those labor organizations' rules and regulations work unevenly, are implemented unevenly in different parts of the world. If the rulers are strong, economy is good, they definitely implement those rules and regulations. WTO, IMF, and UN were considered as reliable international organizations. Proposals for the integration of new global institutions was also put forward in order to address other social issues, provision of indigenous rights, food and medicine, labor exploitation and environmental issues, etc. It required equal representation and participation of all states in agreeing unanimous regulations that I earlier mentioned, that all the rules and regulations were implemented according to the government of the state. That if the government is dependent or interdependent upon the, I would say, dependent upon the developed part of the world, and they are being dictated by the developed part of the world. If the government of the developing part is independent and having autonomy, so as much autonomy they have, as much independently that government will work. The challenging part is that all states cannot be on common grounds. When there is a matter of material interest, there is an ideological divergence, agreements are difficult to achieve with clashing interests. Outside the international institutions, other participants do not get equal representation, nor they exercise similar political and economic power because of the unevenness in the state autonomy in different parts of the world. Powerful states often exploit the international institutions. See how I was explaining the same thing in our previous modules and previous slides, and use them for their political, economic, and other national interests in the name of global issues and global goals. In order to deal with the issue of development, poor countries are often trapped in form of investment and agreements. These agreements actually serve the interests of powerful countries, while poor countries have disadvantages their positions because they have not as much autonomy to dictate their terms. There are bureaucratic glitches that they cannot get visas to have their free trade, but the developed part of the world can go anywhere and they can make more exports towards the developing world as compared to the developing world. These agreements often end up in poor failures due to inappropriate implementation. For example, there have been numerous global agreements to address the issue of global warming and climate change, but they yielded no fruitful results beyond abstract discussion on the degrees of warming. If you know that highest number of industries are definitely disseminating more, are polluting the environment more as compared to the countries where there is less industrialization. Number one country in the world which is emitting carbon dioxide in the environment is United States of America, that is emitting 24% of world carbon dioxide in the air. And number two is China, that is emitting 14% of the world carbon dioxide in the environment. Local civil societies also play important role for alter globalization. It is not necessarily important that all global issues have global solutions. Local civil societies can respond to global neoliberalism. However, they are not bound to develop the alternatives globally. Rather, solutions can be constructed locally instead. This approach encourages the outreach of the local community. Participation of migrants, politically and economically marginalized community is more important because they know their value and they started dictating their terms through their skills and attract the international markets that how they can take advantage from their skills.